Surfer Kings, and as promised, a video on the Boom Master 5000. Check that thing out. This is my new boom pole for whitewater kayaks. This is a design I stole basically from James Burleson, and he just kind of DIY reverse engineered the Jackson elevator. And he didn't want to spend all the money, so he just went to Lowe's, got all the parts himself, and went to town. And so I asked him if I could borrow it so I could do the same thing. It works amazingly. Really stiff, not a lot of wobble. If you really smash it on some rocks, you're gonna have to replace some parts of it, I'm sure. No matter what kind of GoPro mount you use on your helmet, on your boat, in your hand, whatever, I highly recommend never, ever, ever running a camera on a boat without a tether. And I tether the GoPro itself to something on the boat, not to the mount, because the whole mount can break off, part of the mount can break off. So my string will wrap around this pole and then down to a grab bar or some hard point on the boat. So tether it. Enough talking, let me show you how to build it. You'll have to excuse the garage. It has been an incredibly busy month. I picked up the P&H hammer, and then I won the Karma UL, and we went on a big kayak camping trip to the French Broad. And on top of that, I've been working pretty hard. First thing you're gonna need is a pipe vent cap. And you can find this at Lowe's near the roofing vent stuff. And it's, get the hard plastic one. Don't get the like soft black plastic one. The hard one's gray. And you see these little nips on here. You're gonna either have to sand that off or cut that off somehow. Let me do that first. And that's a pretty clean job. I'm gonna hit that a little bit with a file just to get any other edges off. And then we're gonna drill this 3/8 hole in the top, which magically I already drilled the other day when I built the first one. But dead center there's an indent, and just go ahead and get a 3/8 drill bit and drill that out. So the next thing you're gonna need is this 3/4 tubing. It's aluminum. It's all this stuff is at Lowe's. And the length of this is very important and very scientific. I would like to tell you that I have done extensive testing to see which gives you the best view, the least amount of wobble, and all that stuff. But no, it's really 18 inches because I built two and I could get a 36-cent piece. Turns out 18 inches looks pretty good. That's the other one. As you see, two 18-inch pieces. We're all good. 18 inches works for me. You'll need to go ahead and cut that. You can grind it off, and then you want to have a pretty smooth surface, so cut off saw, hacksaw, whatever you can do to get a good smooth square cut, do that. The next thing you're going to need is this 1/4x20 threaded rod, and you'll find this at the same place you'll find the tubing over there at Lowe's. And we're going to want to cut this a little longer. How much longer, you ask? It's a good question. I forgot. But it's gonna need to stick out about that far, about 1/4 of an inch, and probably down here an inch. So let's just say 1.5 inches bigger than 18 inches. So cut your threaded rod 19.5 inches. I feel like I'm not prepared with all the measurements, but I have a good friend going to the Grand Canyon next week, and I'm trying to jam this out so he can see this video because he wants to build one. So bear with me. 19.5 inches, let's cut that off real quick. Now, anytime you cut something threaded, you want to go ahead before you cut it and put some sort of nut on there and wind it on there to the other side of your cut. The reason is you may deform the threads while you do the cutting, and if you don't have this to back it off, you'll be in trouble and won't be able to start your nut after the cut. So if you have this on there, cut the thing off and then take it off. That'll reform your threads. So how this is going to work is this threaded rod is running right down the middle of the tubing. This will be on top, this GoPro mounting attachment. It fits the 1/4x20. And at the bottom, that's going through the hole in our vent cap, and then a nut will hold that on there, nut and washer. Now the problem is, that little rattle, that movement is not ideal. So we have to eliminate that. So the way to do that is we're gonna sandwich a washer on the top and the bottom between two lock nuts. And the washer is almost exactly the interior diameter of this tubing. Let me get that started. Here are the washers I'm using. Write those numbers down. They're not stainless. I wish I could find them stainless, but these are just exactly the interior diameter of that tubing. Just enough play to get it in there and out. So that's gonna be perfect. That's enough for the top one. We'll have to run the bottom one on a little further, but we'll go ahead and do that. And when you have it about 2.5 inches up from the bottom, that's good. And we'll put on the other side. Perfect. Next thing you want to grab is a 1/4x1 stainless washer. And we're going to sandwich this between the pole and the GoPro mount on the top. And we'll go ahead and tighten that GoPro mount down as far as it'll go into the threads. The small side, the large side, that's the bottom, that's the top. Just run it in your tube. Oh, look at that. You can see it, almost no tolerance. Okay, so we don't want to put this through the tube yet, but what we are going to do is put a little blue Loctite on here so that when this is on there, it won't back off. Just a little blue thread locker. Oops. Now it's all over the floor. Don't step in that, you'll stay. All right, put that on pretty tight. You don't have to like get super aggressive with that. The tension from tightening from the bottom is going to hold all that together, and that Loctite there. And so now as you put this down in through the tube, that's how it's going to be. Very stable, no wiggle. And that goes through the hole in the top of our vent cap. So one more 1/4x20 washer goes there, and then we're ready to put this through the vent cap. Another couple washers on the inside, a lock nut, and we're off to the races. Okay, so we have a 3/8 by 16 knob. We have a 3/8 by 7 inch hook bolt. What's gonna happen is that hook bolt is gonna go up through that hole you drilled, and then you are going to place that knob on top. What's gonna happen is that's gonna grab the grab bar on your kayak, and as you tighten that knob, it's gonna pull until this tightens to your boat. All right, with all that going on, you're gonna wanna keep this a little bit further away, and you're also gonna set the angle of your boom by where you drill this hole. The further down, the further out, the further up, the more vertical. What I found is about 1 3/4 to 2 inches away from your mounting bolt is gonna give you a great angle, and it's gonna keep you out of the way of everything going on underneath. So let me drill that hole. You can mark it. I just kind of put a mark on it like that. I'll drill this out, and then we'll assemble this to the pole. Easy peasy. All right, I did that on purpose to show you one of the pitfalls you might run into. These things here are for fitting this onto a pipe and keeping it centered. Be sure you don't drill your hole next to one of those, or you'll look like an idiot. But in my case, I did it on purpose to show you not to do that. All right, so now we have the correct hole and the rod going through there. Plenty of room for a washer. All right, so there it is, threaded rod, the correct hole, and then you want your other 1 inch washer right there in the middle. Your last lock nut going right there. And if you can get a deep socket, it's gonna make it a lot easier. hold on to that pretty good and tighten. About 12 ooga-doogas. And that thing is on there. So that's how it mounts. All right, we're almost done. Now you take your hook bolt, run it up through there, and you put this washer on there. The letters on there are ZAE. They don't come in a pack, they're just in like a loose grab. I got stainless, just makes sense. Drop that on the top, then drop your knob. The last thing you're gonna wanna do is put one of these rubber protectors on the top so that those threads or anything sharp doesn't catch you or a person or anything else, piece of gear. And you're pretty much done. However, what I would recommend and what I did is I cut off about 1.5 inches of this thread because it's just too much. You don't really need all that. And what you can do is back it out like that, drop it down and see how far you need to grab a, grab bar on a kayak. And as you can see, that's a lot of extra. So I can trim at least 1 inch off of that. But go ahead and evaluate this for your kayak. You may have a more raised grab bar or a flatter grab bar. There's different variables that would make you want to trim more or less off. Or maybe do a cross section of several of your boats because you may want to move this around and find the length that's going to work best for you. All right, there's only one more thing you need to complete the project, and it's fuel line from AutoZone. Just get the black rubber fuel line about that big. Looks like about 5/16 to 3/8 wide. The inside is about 1/8 of an inch. And so it'll have a natural curve to it. We're gonna wanna split that right down the curve with a knife or a box cutter. All right, so we have that where we can split it open. Don't cut the back side, you just wanna cut it so we can get around the plastic lip right here. And you want enough fuel line in one piece to go all the way around. And you just kind of press fit it on there, and that makes a nice rubber grippy surface, and it also won't mar your boats and scratch the boats, but it keeps any sliding from happening, and it keeps the plastic on plastic sound that's going to travel up your boom pole. So if you have any weird knocking from something hitting, it's going to go straight up the boom pole. This will kind of keep all that a little bit muffled. Does a great job. I did not glue mine because it's press fit when in use. I'm gonna see how it does. If I needed to glue it, get the super weather strip adhesive. But this stuff is what we won World War II on. This stuff is pretty aggressive, so don't wear clothes you like when you work with that. So that's it, the Boom Master 5000. Simple build, a lot of fun. All that you're missing now is a little can of spray paint, and it'll look like that. Of course, got to put a sticker on there. And spray it as nice as you like. I think it looks a little better when it's all black. Doesn't look like a hodgepodge of metal parts from Lowe's, but it looks pretty good. So that's it. Go catch you some cool footage, evaluate your own paddling, mix up your footage a bit, just get a new perspective on there. You can do a lot of fun things with this. You can put it on the front, you can put it on the back, and just kind of change the view up. A lot of good uses. Pete with the River Kings. Let me know what you think about the video. Send me other ideas. Catch you next time.